Hey, I'm Nick from transformmypoker.com. Welcome to this short video called How to Play Poker Like the Pros. It's very short because the answer is play a couple of million hands a year and analyze them a lot. All right, that's the long way to do it. What I'm going to do in this video is going to give you some shortcuts, some things that you can go away and do today that will actually get you much closer to thinking about poker in the same way that a really successful pro does. Because there are some key differences and you don't need to study tons and tons of poker theory in order to master them. So what are they? Well, there's three. Doing things in threes is cool. Has been for years. Number one is focus. Focus. So one of the biggest differences between a player who's struggling with their results, or if you like a recreational player, and a professional player is the amount of focus they give when they're playing. It's the easiest thing to do in the world. It's also the easiest thing to get wrong in the world. Now, I know that there's a very good chance that poker is your leisure activity, so it's really easy to just be quite casual about it. Now, that's fine, but don't expect great results if that's what you're doing. If you really want to get good, then focusing every time you play is critical. You want to be having no distractions when you play, whether it's live or online. You don't want to be kind of watching TV at the same time or sort of half playing or whatever. You want to be really focused like a laser beam. Or like a laser beam coming out of your, there's a focus beam, you know what I mean? You want to be really, really focused when you play, and you want to be watching your opponents, you want to be watching hands that you're not involved in, watch the big hands when they go to showdown, and piece together the information you need to have an edge against them. That's what the pros do. You can do it. No extra poker theory or study required. You can do it next time you play. I highly recommend you do. All right, the second way you can play like a pro is use active thinking. Active thinking. I'm going to represent thinking with some question marks and exclamation marks because that's how you represent thinking. Active thinking is so important in poker. It's very, very easy to switch off and do things by autopilot. So what I mean by that is you kind of pick up a hand, say ace queen, and you think, okay, I'll raise, and then you get a queen on the flop, so you think, okay, I'll bet, and then someone raises, and suddenly you think, okay, what's going on here? And the way that you stop getting into that situation where you think, oh, what's going on here? And you're not really in the game. You're kind of autopiloting. Really, really easy to do online, just clicking away. I call it zombie tilt, where you're no longer thinking, you're just pushing buttons. The way to counter that is to have the active thinking impulse always going on. So to get into the habit of doing that, have an inner monologue. Now, if you're playing live, I highly recommend it's an inner monologue, because if you say what you're thinking out loud, you're going to kind of give the game away. But you really want to be saying to yourself what's happening. So literally, you go, okay, I've got ace queen. Nobody's raised so far. I'm going to raise. It's a value bet because I almost certainly have the best hand and I want to get more money in the pot, so I raise. Okay, somebody's called on the button. This player is quite a tight player, so I think he's going to call with kind of Broadway cards, small pairs. He would have re-raised with this really big hand, so he doesn't have any of those. And you just kind of have this inner monologue so that you're always actively thinking about the hand and about your opponent's ranges. Now, very quickly, this will become second nature, but the purpose of doing it in this very step-by-step way in your head is just to switch on your active thinking impulse so that you're always at your best at the poker table and you're not switching off or autopiloting. It can make a big difference. All right, the third way to play more like a pro is to have no ego. Now, what I mean by having no ego is not having no confidence. All of the successful pros have a lot of confidence about their game. What they don't have is the idea that they've learnt it all. And the other thing they don't have is the idea that they play perfectly. In fact, the opposite. This may surprise you, but all of the great pros, all of the household names that you know, are constantly looking to improve. To give you an example, a few years ago, obviously very late in his career, Doyle Brunson said, if I play a session where I haven't learned something, I see that session as a failure. So Doyle Brunson, millions of dollars in the bank from poker, years and years and years under the belt, years at the top of the game, that's how he views poker. The very best names in the business constantly share hands. They constantly ask for opinions. They constantly look to improve. So you should do likewise, because if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for you and everybody else, right, who wants to improve. Do not have an ego about this game. Do not assume you know everything. In fact, you probably know very little, because most of us know very little compared to everything there is to learn about poker. Here's a good tip for you, which will kind of be an exercise in humility, but it will really help you improve. After you've watched this video, make a list of your biggest weaknesses that if you could change them to make your game better, you would. Maybe this is the first time you've done it, but it's a really, really important exercise to do, to take a step back and think, okay, I'm not where I want to be with poker. How do I get there? What are the biggest areas I don't understand? Am I not aggressive enough? Am I not, clear thinking enough? Do I not understand enough about the maths of poker? Am I not good enough about reading my opponents? It's a real exercise in honesty, and then go away and get information on those areas that can help you. Go away and fix those weaknesses. Talk to other poker players. Analyze your hands and look for ways to improve. But importantly, have no ego, because the top pros that have been successful for years, they don't, so neither should you. All right, some tips that you can use with no extra poker theory, no study required, just stuff that can really allow you to close the gap between you and a successful professional player. I really hope that that's given you some value. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the YouTube channel by hitting the button on screen or the button below the video, and I'll give you videos like this regularly. Leave me a comment underneath so that you can ask me what you'd like help with, and maybe I'll make a video about it one day. And to really get a big jump in your game, your confidence, your understanding and your results, come over to transformmypoker.com, hit this link that's on screen right now, enter your email over there and you can sign up, and I will send you a series of free advanced training videos that will really help you out and really help boost your knowledge, understanding and results in this game. All right, hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed making it for you. I'll talk to you again very soon.